You come to a point where you realize when you work in corporate, you work several years to get that $20,000, $30,000 raise, and you realize once you get it, it doesn't change your life. Yes, you get 30,000 more, but half that's like going to Uncle Sam, and it doesn't do anything for you. So it just really came to a point in our lives where we realized we have to do something. We had to do something else. And I think that breaking point or that turning point came when, Natasha was in the tech industry, and the tech industry is very volatile. And she was laid off, and we were scratching our heads, looking at each other, thinking, what are we gonna do? Her background, we're fortunate that she has background in real estate, and we knew we had to do something else. We knew we had to find another line of income or another way of getting money in.
Hey, this is Niti, and what you're about to hear today is a very special episode with one of the members from our portfolio program.
We call these Sensei Sessions. These interviews are designed to give you a perspective about what you can achieve with the right strategies and execution.
I hope you enjoy this episode, and for free resources, check out our show notes section to see how you can build and scale your portfolio.
We wanted to kind of focus on partnerships, couples, partners who are working together on their real estate journey. Fred and Natasha, who you are, what do you do now, where do you invest, and your ARV, please.
Okay. Well, I'll introduce myself. My name is Fred DeLeon. This is my wife, Natasha. I've been personally in healthcare administration for roughly about 18 years. I've been sort of handing it off to Natasha to take care of because I have, that 9 to 5 W-2. So where we invest also in Philly.
Tell me your ARV real quick, Fred and Natasha.
Our ARV total is 1.2 million.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Can you walk us through the mission of your real estate business? Why you were doing what you were doing in real estate?
It's along the same lines as everyone, to be financially free, to have more time with our families, to be our own boss. I mean, those are all the same motivators for us. I think for us, how it all started, like I said, I give a lot of credit to Natasha because I'm busy in my W-2. You come to a point where you realize when you work in corporate, you work several years to get that $20,000, $30,000 raise, and you realize once you get it, it doesn't change your life. Yes, you get 30,000 more, but half that's like going to Uncle Sam, and it doesn't do anything for you. So it just really came to a point in our lives where we realized we have to do something. We had to do something else. And I think that breaking point or that turning point came when, Natasha was in the tech industry, and the tech industry is very volatile. And she was laid off, and we were scratching our heads, looking at each other, thinking, what are we gonna do? Her background, we're fortunate that she has background in real estate, and we knew we had to do something else. We knew we had to find another line of income or another way of getting money in. So that's pretty much where our goal is right now. So obviously, I'm still in the W-2. That's not the end game. I think that's just an ends to a mean for us. I've been in healthcare for 18 years. I can do it with my eyes closed. So it's more, like I said, like an ends to a means. It's there so I can have benefits for the kids and for the family, but also to keep something steady. I think right now we know that the answer is this. It's real estate. It is investing in it, and really honestly for me to get out of that W-2. So I think that's it. For those of you that have kids, I don't want to sound cliche here and say, hey, you know what, time goes by fast, but it really truly does. You realize when you have kids and you're in that W-2, you're like, you spend 40 hours, 50 hours a week just away from them, and you're stressing, for this paycheck, and so it's the goal, honestly, is that it's exactly what everyone said: being your own boss, being financially free, and really making money while you're being with your family. That's it.
I love
That's
that.
amazing. And
the corporate environment is so unforgiving to being parents. It penalizes you for wanting to have a life outside of work. And it consistently beats you down when you want that. It makes you feel guilty for wanting that. It's like it rewards you for staying away from your family. Like it's the completely backwards way of how life should be. And I love that you're getting out of it. That's amazing.
I love it.
I have a question. Since becoming an investor, what has been the biggest transformation that you have noticed in yourself / in your spouse? Natasha, do you want to go? Or Fred?
What's changed in how we think, probably a mindset shift, right? You think about, you're accustomed to work for a certain paycheck, you save X amount of percent, but then when you have this real estate lens, you think of it as, okay, if I spend it on XYZ, I could actually use that money for earnest money deposit, right? So you start thinking about how and where you can put these large chunks of money, and then also think about the leverage aspect of it, right? So instead of the things, it's like, oh, I could put this towards, a house in Philly, right? Because the price points work. And then also being able to collaborate with the other investors, other like-minded people that are doing the same thing, like having the same challenges as you. It's comforting when you get stuck, when you have those challenges, and brainstorming with other people. How did this come about? What did you do when your appraisal came back low, or when your GC walked, you gave them money, right? All these things that you're fearful. Yes, it's going to happen, but it's the other options on what you can do to solve it through other life lines.
Yeah.
That really, Natasha, that was really great.
Fred, do you have anything to add?
I think she summarized that very well. I think you start reflecting on just corporate life, working. I think we're all sort of, I'm probably getting more towards like conspiracies now, but I think we're all sort of like trained from a very young age, through schooling, that we have to work. We have to work for the man, the corporate. We have to find a good job. We have to work that corporate ladder. And I think that's along the lines of what Natasha said. It's like we have to get away from that mindset. If you get stuck in that rat race and that mindset, you're just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I feel like, I kind of stopped caring about all the propaganda once that switch flipped, and really started questioning everything and started thinking of for myself. And that just reminded me of that as soon as you said something about conspiracy theory. It kind of makes you think like, wait, why should I believe any of this anymore? I'm going to start thinking for myself now. Love that.
I'd love to get an idea of the division of duties, right? And if you're willing to share, we'd love to hear like who does what on the real estate side to make it happen.
So because I'm in my W-2, really Natasha takes 99% of this workload and has really developed this part of our investing. Where I come in, Natasha's not one to
I'm too nice.
not one to have a lot of confrontation with folks. So one of a recent challenge that we've had was with one of our contractors that this is something everyone's going to go through at some point, where it just wasn't working at the speed that we needed or that he had promised to. So Natasha usually calls on me to be sort of that enforcer, and it sort of works out because with my managing background, I can be that person, set expectations, find that fine line between not being too mean and having this person run away, but remotivating the contractor. So that's sort of my role. My role has always been sort of when there's dirty work to be had, there's a really difficult phone call that needs to be made. Natasha will pull me in for that. but everything else, she handles. She's been amazing.
I think it's so interesting what you said, Fred, about like not being so mean that they run away, but also like managing expectations and getting it done. And I'll always give the example of my cousin always used to tell me, we fly kites on this festival that it's called Uttarayan in India. And it's once a year for one day, you fly kites and they get stuck in trees all the time, right? So my cousin would always give me this tip and he would be like, you're pulling on the string too hard when you're trying to get that kite out. It's going to break. And he's like, you have to pull it just enough for it to loosen. And you can't pull it less because then it won't come out. And you can't pull it so hard that it breaks. And I would always like just yank it and I'd be like, forget it. I don't want that. So that's how I deal with people, right? I'm always like, either too nice or I'm just like, forget it. Like I'm going to just let it all out. And Niti is very good at that, the middle level of the pull of that string. And I remember the first time, like I had a tough conversation with our contractor. He said, Palak, this isn't good for us, the way you're talking to me. He's like, he wasn't there. Like he knew he was in the wrong. It was a big project. And I've told you guys this story. Like it was our 3 triplex project. And he spent 2/3 of the money in 1/3 of the project. And we had to like figure out what to do. And I didn't know, I was still learning all of this stuff. I didn't know any better very early on. And I was just like, you went on vacation. Your guys were here spending all my money. You didn't keep track of this project. And now we're in this mess. How are we going to handle this? And I was just like, and he looked at me. He's like, Palak, this isn't good for us. And I was like, oh, this is when I've pulled that string too hard. This is it. He's in the wrong. And we decided to split the difference. And somehow that project ended up being the best project we ever did. But when he said that, I was like, you know what? There is a skill here that I don't have. And I love when you brought that up, and it's a thing, and we can all develop it, or we can, if we have a Fred, then we don't need to develop that skill, and you just now that Niti is in the business full time, I'm like, you know what, you're good at this one thing. I don't need to learn that. Just go for it.
And I think honestly, that's really the point when you're with your partner, doing this investing. Everyone has something to contribute, and so it's really trying to work together and identify what those are. I know Natasha is very organized. She's very, on top of, she's the extrovert. You can, the networking piece, and then, I know what my strengths are, and I know what my background is. So, she'll call upon me for that, so, I think,
I love that.
Yeah, it's really just sitting down and talking to your partner about what do we have to offer, and then seeing where you can fit in.
And appreciating those skill sets in each other too. That was the thing that was tough for Niti and I. Is really, because good thing is you have different skill sets, but then it's also hard to appreciate the other way of thinking because you don't think that way. That's why you have different skill sets. And so when we were able to appreciate it, that really changed the game for us. It's just so amazing to hear everybody's stories. And thank you, Natasha, Fred. Thank you for being here today.
When you're ready to get serious, you can join us at theinvestoraccelerator.com.
It's like getting 1,000 episodes worth of information in 5 days, and it's everything you need to build your actionable plan to financial freedom and making work optional.